Hello, yes, okay, this is a... Let's talk about grouping behaviors. So, at a very basic level, we have a system in place where each entity is somewhat aware of other entities. So, to make it work, we have to test for consistency. So I have duplicated several entities, and we can see... Well, let's get on with it. Romance. So, it is my goal to replace predation behaviors with romance. So, there is a common resource, the prime resource, and it is infinite. So, competition is not essential. Now let's go ahead and test this. Yes, I like this part. Each entity is roughly aware of each other and also always aware of the position of the prime resource. So, what does this mean? This means that when there is an absence of grouping behaviors, they will eventually always find their way back to the prime resource. Now, let's do something really exciting. Multiple species. Okay? Here we are with multiple species. Each one has different movement patterns, which tends to generate a different system of behavior. So, for example, the blue ones there, they do not move horizontally as eagerly as some of the other ones, whereas the larger ones have a slower turn radius, but they also maintain the same velocity, so they tend to be the explorers. Now, this just tends to be the case that because romance is possible between every species, there can be some emergent behaviors. Not responsible for them. This is just physics. There's nothing complex going, nothing being really tracked between each entity, just some simple emergent behaviors. So, let's have a look here. Look at this purple one. These two purple ones, they are migrating incidentally because of their slow turn radius. We can see here that these yellow ones have attached themselves in some way to these explorers. So, in doing so, the yellow ones, they are also exploring. It's not really a survival strategy, though, is it? Well, it needs something else. So, before we even think about that, though, let's make sure that everyone finds their way home after, Yes, okay, it looks like they all know where the prime resource is. So, let's see what happens after. And also, let's really test the limits of this, okay? So, external stimulus. Is it dangerous? I don't know. How will an outside factor affect the collective behavior of these entities? It's emergent behavior, remember, so none of this is planned. This is just a happening. Let's watch. It looks like some of them are grouping together, and these grouping patterns initially are affected by whether or not they have attached to each other. So, partners, for some reason, will group with the external stimulus, but only if they have partnered. In doing so, this is the simplest form of collaboration that is possible. Remember, these minds are not firing any neurons. They're just, they're very, not impressive at all. So, incidentally, the behavior pattern that we see is that they group together and push away the external stimulus. Whether or not it's because it's perceived as a danger or because it's just something fun, that's not really a relevant factor because there's no interpretation. Each entity does not interpret anything. There's nothing being interpreted, they're just doing. So, yes. Unfortunately, for some of them, the end result is that a small group of entities push the external stimulus away from the flock. And, the reason I said unfortunately is because they completely lack any sort of processing and sense of self-preservation. So we will see here that, they're gonna go right off the cliff with this external stimulus. And that sucks for them, but also I'll make sure they survive, so don't worry. Okay. And some individuals will find their way back due to positionally random factors. And others, I'll make them process a little bit so that they understand danger. But in the meantime, if I remove the external stimulus, they will all find their way back. Guaranteed. So, do not worry, no creatures were harmed in the making of this video. Thank you for watching, and yes, have a great day. Okay, goodbye.